Recording in progress.
Councillor Wright, can you hear us? Good. Okay, I see some nods. Good evening, everybody. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Land Use Committee. We are audio and video recorded, present at the beginning of the meeting. From the committee, I'm the chair, Rick Lipoff. We also have the vice chair, Andrea Kelly. And I see Councillors Mark Laredo and Andrea Downs. We have Councillor Tariq Lucas here as well, and Chris Markowitz from our committee. And we also have Councillor Wright, not from the committee, but she's here as well. From planning, we have Kat Kemet and Katie Wewell and Michael Gleba, and we should have Jonah Temple from the law department as well. Okay. First item of the night, 228-23, Nelson and Sally DePierre, request to further extend a non-conforming 3.5-story single-family dwelling and to exceed FAR at 35 Oak Cliff Road. Mr. Gleba.
All right. Okay. So yes, this is for 35 Oak Cliff Road. Special permit being sought, as we're seeing on the screen, to extend the non-conforming 3.5-story single-family dwelling and to exceed the FAR. So the reason this is a 3.5-story structure is that the basement counts as the first floor, and what would normally be considered the attic above the second floor is considered a half story above the third story. So it's 3.5 stories tall. The petitioners proposed to build a dormer on that top half story, thus extending the non-conforming 3.5 story. So relief is needed for that to extend that non-conformity, and the dormer would increase the FAR, well, the floor area by about 280 square feet up to 2,990 square feet, and that's taking the FAR will make it a forming 0.39 to 0.44, where 0.43 is the maximum allowed by right. The criteria the council should consider is as shown, whether that expanded structure with the dormer on the 3.5 story, that top half story, as designed would be substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conforming structure is to the neighborhood. Whether the specific site is an appropriate location, again, for that expanded structure as designed, with that dormer and an FAR of 0.44 or 0.43 is the maximum allowed by right. That's the first of the standard special permit criteria. The other three are what follow, whether that expanded structure as developed and operated will not adversely affect the neighborhood, whether it would create a nuisance or serious hazard to vehicles or pedestrians, and whether access to the site is appropriate for the types and numbers of vehicles involved. The FAR criteria is the last one, whether that increase of FAR to 0.44 is consistent with and not in derogation of the size, scale, and design of other structures in the neighborhood. Here we see the site in blue on the east side of Oak Cliff Road, just north of Whittier Street. The site plan, there was no change to the building outline or envelope since the dormer, the addition on the top story, would be within the existing footprint, and it would be on the rear of the house. I will point that out, pretty much where you see the SE, perhaps in house on this plan. And Oak Cliff Road is at the bottom of this drawing. Here we have the rear elevation showing the existing conditions and the proposed condition. At the top, you see the existing rear elevation, pretty much facing east-southeast. On the bottom drawing, you can see, and hopefully you see my cursor, the location and extent and size of the proposed dormer on that top story. The petitioners provided some perspectives as well. Going clockwise from the upper right drawing, again, hopefully you see that cursor, shows the existing rear of the structure as it is now. Below that, on the bottom right, we can see the proposed dormer, again at that top story. So this is from the back left of the home, and on the other side, the back right, we can see it from another angle. What you also see here is why it's considered a 3.5-story building, because the basement, the bottom level, due to the grade, is walkout and again considered the first story. This is similar renderings as well. Just one quick photo. Here we see the front of the home is seen from Oak Cliff Drive. None of the addition would be visible from this, so this perspective, this view would not change. That's all planning has for now, and hopefully can answer any questions the committee might have.
Great, thank you very much. Is the petitioner here? If that's good enough, we can move on, or if the petitioner would like to add anything?
Anything?
No? Okay.
No more details.
Okay, yep, good enough, thank you. Any questions or comments from the committee? Do I have a motion? Councilor Lucas?
Thank you. Yeah, this seems like a good project. I did a site visit yesterday, and I support these additions to the home, so I'll make a motion to close the public hearing and move for approval.
Thank you very
Chair,
much.
Did you ask for public comment? If I might have missed that.
No, you're absolutely right, a little rusty. Public comment, anybody wish to speak on this? Raise your hand or unmute and say hello. No public comment? Okay, we have a motion to close the public hearing by Councilor Lucas. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, abstentions? Public hearing is closed. We have a motion to approve by Councilor Lucas. Can we take a look at a council order? Mr. Gleba?
Okay. So the first finding is the extension of the nonconformity. Just saying that the expanded structure would not be substantially more detrimental than the existing structure, given the dormer's modest size, and it would be located on the rear of the structure, and it would have limited or no visibility from adjacent public rights of way and or residential properties. For the first of the special permit criteria, pretty much the same findings in that it is an appropriate location for those same reasons, given the size of the property, similar dwellings in the neighborhood, located at the rear of the dwelling, and limited or no visibility from adjacent public rights of way or residential properties. The increased FAR, well, the expanded structure would not adversely affect the neighborhood, again, for those same reasons. No nuisance or serious hazard to vehicles or pedestrians. Access is appropriate. And for the expansion of the FAR, the expanded structure is consistent with, not in derogation of the size, scale, and design of other structures in the neighborhood, including several close by. Those are the findings. And for the conditions, standard plan reference, standard building permit, and standard CO.
Thank you very much. Okay, we have a motion to approve. Please call the roll. Mr. Clerk.
Councillor Bowman, Councillor Downs,
Aye.
Councillor Greenberg, Councillor Kelly,
Aye.
Councillor Laredo,
Aye.
Councillor Lipoff,
Aye.
Councillor Lucas,
Aye.
Councillor Markowitz.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. Good luck with your project. The next item of the night is 22923 J.P. Camella, request to waive 7 parking stalls at 12 Austin Street. Mr. Gleba, Please give us your report.
All right. All right. Okay, so the petitioner is seeking a special permit. The plan is to combine 2 units currently occupied by retail and personal services to operate a 42-seat restaurant requiring a waiver of 7 parking stalls. So the relief sought is that waiver of 7 stalls. For background, the proposed 42-seat restaurant would have up to 6 employees, and it would need 16 parking stalls. And it's 1 parking stall for every 3 seats, plus 1 for every 3 employees at the busiest shift. The previously existing 2 businesses, the dry cleaners and I believe a retail store, had an existing credit of 9 stalls. So of those 16 stalls, only a waiver of 7 is needed because of that 9 stall credit. So the criteria for the council is the standard parking waiver criteria, whether literal compliance with that requirement to provide 7 additional parking stalls is impracticable due to the nature of the use, location, size, width, depth, shape, or grade of the lot, or that such exceptions would be in the public interest, in the interest of safety, or protection of environmental features. Here we see the site again in blue on the south side of Austin, with the pine close by in the village close by as well. No exterior changes to speak of. This is just a floor plan of how the restaurant would be configured. You do see how this was or is at this point 2 separate spaces that would be combined into 1, with the front entrance on Austin on the right-hand side of this drawing, and there is an alleyway to the rear. When it comes to parking, we did send the information to the Transportation Division, who did not express concern over the proposed waiver and noted that the petition's numbers, they did submit a parking study of observations they made. The Transportation Division felt those numbers were relatively conservative, and they felt that the number of unoccupied nearby public spaces may in fact be more than was kind of indicated by the petition study. And the petitioner has indicated in support of the proposed waiver. They have mentioned how deliveries would take place through that back alley and not on Austin. And staff would be instructed to utilize public transportation with the MBTA commuter rail and bus lines close by. Just one photo of the site. It would be the 2 middle storefronts. Again, you see the dry cleaners and the old craft beer cellar as well. So that would be the location. That's all we have for now, and hopefully can answer questions the committee might have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gleba. Is there anybody with the petitioner that wishes to add anything to this? If so, unmute and state your name and address. Nobody here from Camellus? Okay. All right. Can you please stop sharing, Mr. Gleba? Thank you. Okay, anybody from the public wish to speak on this petition? We have John Pelletier.
Thank you, Counselor. John Pelletier, resident 103 Madison Ave, right on the edge of the little site plan there. Sounds great. Let's build it. I'm excited for more lunch and dinner options within a visual distance of my house. Thanks so much, folks.
Okay, thank you. I have no problem with that statement. No. Anybody else? Please take your hand down once you speak. Thank you, Mr. Pelletier. Anybody else from the community wish to say anything? No? We'll take it into the committee. Counselor Laredo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A great project, no problems with it whatsoever. Just a couple of questions. Do you know, Mr. Gleba, if they're closing their West Newton location and moving to Newtonville?
You know, I do not know that, so I can't really answer that. So no.
But
So-
Counselor Kelly's shaking her
Yes,
head,
I'm
yes. So I
saying
take,
yes, they
I take it we don't get the benefit of another Cabela's, we just get a location closer to my house, which is fine. Second question is, the Starbucks is clearly leaving there, as is the Taylor. Is the craft beer store also getting taken over there?
Yes, it's in that space.
It's in that space, okay. Okay, just more curiosity than anything, you know.
Sure. And
Mr.
Counselor
Chair.
Laredo, I think there is a Cabela's closer to your house in Chestnut Hill, isn't there?
Well, you know, it depends how you drive. I'm still a fan of the Newtonville Star Market because that's where I grew up going to. My wife probably prefers the one in Chestnut Hill. We'll leave that alone.
There you go.
I'm all
Okay.
set. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Counselor Kelly?
Thank you. Well, Councilor Laredo, you can eat here and take out from here, but you can't buy beer next door anymore. And I'm sure that Mr. Pelletier will be walking or riding his bicycle to Cabela's as a bike
Frequently.
kit and neighbor. I am in support of this also. I'd just like to remind everyone, I'm sure on this council who already knows, there is a very large half-empty public parking lot adjacent to this plaza. There is plenty of parking in this area, so I think it's totally fine to grant this waiver of parking spaces. And I look forward to Camilla's opening there. I'll miss you in West Newton, but this looks like a better location, a bigger site. So I will be a patron there as well, even though they're not here to hear me say that. Thank you.
Thank you. And you can go across the street to Gordon's Liquors to get your beer. Counselor Lucas?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I agree with the comments that we have heard. I'll be supporting this, and it's also now walking distance from my house. So looking forward to getting the meatball sub and mozzarella sticks, which sound really good right now. So when ready, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing and move for approval.
Great. I love it in the summertime when we put on short sleeve shirts and everybody just gets casual. This is very nice. We have a motion to close the, oh no, Counselor Markowitz.
You skipped over me, but I'll let it go since it is the summertime. Thank you, Chair. I would just add the same thing. It's too bad we don't still have it in Washington, on Washington Street and West Newton Square, but I think Cabela's is great. I'm glad they've got this. I wish them much success, and I hope that something like them comes back into Washington Square. It's the only disappointing thing about this, but good luck. And I agree with Councilor Kelly. There's plenty of parking in that Austin Street lot, at least every time I'm there. Be well.
It's interesting that you, Councilor Markowitz, make the same mistake that I do and call West Newton Square Washington Square. Should we rename it?
What have you got in mind? How about Downs?
Okay, everybody.
Washington.
We have a motion to close the public hearing by Counselor Lucas. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, the public hearing is closed. We have a motion to approve by Counselor Lucas. Can we take a look at a council order?
Okay, so for the finding, providing 7 spaces is impracticable due to the nature and the use of the light and nature of the use and the size of the lot, and a parking waiver of 7 stalls is in the public interest, as the site is located in a mixed-use village center with public parking and transit nearby. So that's the one finding, and for the conditions, again, the standard 3. Yep, there you go. Plan, building permit, CO. That's all.
Excellent, thank you. We have a motion to approve. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Bowman? Counselor Downs?
Aye.
Counselor Greenberg? Counselor Kelly?
Aye.
Counselor Laredo?
Aye.
Counselor Lipoff?
Aye.
Counselor Lucas?
Aye.
Counselor Markowitz?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. We all wish them luck in getting this done. All right, 239-23, Theodore and Stephanie Silverstein. Request to allow parking in the front setback at 213 Jackson Street. Ms. Kemet.
Yes, this is petition 239-23 at 213 Jackson Street. The petitioners are proposing to convert the existing attached garage into living space and convert the existing driveway into the 2 parking stalls required for residential uses. Because only 1 parking stall may be located in the front setback, the project needs a special permit to allow an additional parking stall in the front setback for a total of 2 in that setback. In reviewing this request, the council should consider whether the site is an appropriate location for the proposed stall, if the additional parking stall in the front setback will adversely affect the neighborhood, if there will be a nuisance or serious hazard to vehicles or pedestrians, if access to the site over streets is appropriate for the types and number of vehicles involved, and if literal compliance with the allowed number of parking stalls within the front setback is impracticable due to the nature of the use or the location, size, width, depth, or shape of the lot. The property is located at the corner of Jackson Street and Daniel Street, with the front of the dwelling facing out on Jackson, but there is frontage on both streets. It abuts single-family residences to all sides, and the land use of the neighborhood is residential with mostly single-family dwellings. And the zoning of this site and the surrounding area is SR3. This is the proposed site plan. The lot is 5,135 square feet, and it has a single family dwelling with a small attached garage, which is on the left side here. The garage and driveway are accessed via a 19.5 foot wide curb cut on Jackson. So the garage has 1 parking stall, and there's 1 surface parking stall located within the front setback in that driveway. The petitioners are proposing to convert the attached garage into living space. The existing driveway will be repaved and shifted over slightly from the side lot line on the left. This will create 2 parking stalls with compliant dimensions that are 9 feet wide and 19 feet long. The stalls will be set back 5 feet from the sidewalk, but within the 25-foot front setback from Jackson Street. So relief is needed in order to have that second stall within the front setback in the existing driveway. With the alterations proposed, the lot coverage will remain the same at 20.2%, where up to 30% is allowed. Open space will decrease slightly from 69.23% to 68.58%. A minimum of 50% is required, so there's no relief required on that front. The curb cut on Jackson Street will remain as is and provide access to both parking stalls. So essentially the parking area itself will remain the same, but there will be 2 legal parking spaces in that driveway. Overall, the department is not concerned with the proposed second parking stall in the front setback. The site is on a corner lot, which constrains where that compliant parking could be, because it is subject to 2 front setbacks. Constructing a second compliant parking stall in a different location would require an increase in paving and would be a little challenging with the 2 front setbacks. Both stalls will be dimensionally compliant as proposed here, and the department believes that the minor changes proposed are not likely to have a significant negative impact. That's all for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Do the petitioners need to add anything to that? Or is that good enough?
I'd like to, on behalf of myself and my wife, to thank the staff members who helped us with the process of preparing this application. I certainly made missteps, and they were always handled with some patience and understanding by the staff. So, so thank you to everyone. We're hopeful you'll find this a positive item and helpful to us as we try to continue to live for many years more in the house. And that's what having a garage into a living space is going to do for us. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you for the compliment on our staff services. It's nice to hear. Okay, anybody from the public wish to speak on this petition? Raise your hand if you're here. If not, we'll take it into the committee. Councillor Kelly?
Thank you. I put my hand up so fast because I may astonish some of my colleagues. I'm often a stickler for parking in the front setback and for the sizes of parking stalls. And when I first heard about this, I was wary, but I have to say I support it fully for several reasons. One, as Ms. Kemet pointed out, the open space is staying above what's required. The lot coverage is staying above what's required. The curb cut is staying as existing. It's pushed as far away from that corner as it almost could be on the site. So I'm not worried about visibility. It is not interfering with the sidewalk. And I love that the stalls are 9 by 19 feet. So I will definitely be voting in favor of this.
Thank you. Councillor Laredo, do you second that emotion?
I do. Thank you for the song reference, but I fully agree with Councillor Kelly on this one. And I'll add, this to me is a prime example of why we have a special permit process. We have rules. The rules, I think, are actually really good rules, but there are times when the rules don't make good sense. And this is a prime example of when we should allow a deviation from the rules. So I believe this is Ward 6, and I don't believe Councillor Bowman is here. So I'll be happy to move to close the public hearing and move approval when the time is right. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Markowitz.
I was going to say the same thing. All set, Chair.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion to close the public hearing by Councillor Laredo. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, abstentions? Public hearing is closed. We have a motion to approve. Can we see a council order?
Yes. For findings, we have 1, the site is an appropriate location for the proposed additional parking stall within the front setback because the parking will be in the same location as an existing driveway. 2, the parking stall in the front setback will not adversely affect the neighborhood because that stall will be located in an area that's already paved. 3, there will be no nuisance or serious hazard to vehicles or pedestrians because the curb cut and configuration of the driveway will be similar to the existing conditions. 4, access to the site over streets is appropriate for the type and number of vehicles involved. And 5, literal compliance with the dimensional parking requirements is impracticable because the site is on a corner lot and an alternate location is likely to result in an increase in paved area. And for conditions, we have plan referencing and standard building permit conditions and occupancy conditions.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Councillor Bowman? Councillor Downs?
Aye.
Councillor Greenberg? Councillor Kelly?
Aye.
Councillor Laredo?
Aye.
Councillor Lipoff?
Aye.
Councillor Lucas?
Aye.
Councillor Markowitz?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. Good luck with your project. All right, and that's the end of our meeting at 7:30. Take care.